Hey guys, another quick video for our Wheels in Japan playlist. So there will be nothing in this video that our regular viewers would not have heard or seen many times before. However, we're making this video once, so we never have to address this topic again, right? And that's because when we make the videos about crazy drivers in Japan, we often show people using their phones while they're driving, like this truck driver. Now, occasionally we get a comment from someone saying, don't see a problem with that. What's the problem with that? While they're sitting at a red light. Now, as we've already explained many times before, our backseat passenger or our front seat passenger take this video, and it's easiest to do it when we're sitting at a traffic light. Obviously, very difficult to do this while we're moving. Now, in this case, we're actually on an overpass, standing on an overpass, so this is different. But usually the footage we show you is taken by a backseat or front seat passenger. That's easiest to do at the traffic light. So, as for the question, what's wrong with that? Okay, here's a couple of observations. First observation is, it's against the law. In Japan, you are allowed to look at a phone or a television or a navigation system or whatever you want to look at while you're driving the car, no problem at all. However, you're not allowed to touch it. So that's the law. So you're not allowed to be looking down at the thing and touching the thing. You're allowed to look at it, but you're not allowed to touch it. That's the law. So that's the first observation. It's against the law. The second problem with it is they get so absorbed in what they're doing that the light will change to green and they're still staring at their phone. And we get this all the time. And a lot of Japanese people are too polite to hit the horn and say, hurry up, you know, and they'll just sit there. And we've watched lights go from green back to red again while we're waiting for some person to realise that the light's gone green. That happens all the time. So out where we live in the countryside, people are polite. See the guy that's using his phone right next to a police car. That's how little they worry about doing it. But that's the second observation, is that's a problem, is that they'll sit there staring at their phone. They don't notice that the light's gone green. Everybody behind them gets held up, as is the example of this green truck here. So this turning corner here, you only get a short time that the light's green. So these guys have taken off. He's sitting there staring at his phone. He hasn't realised. By the time he realises, the light's gone red. So he's had to stop. And the cars, him and the cars behind, didn't manage to get through the green light because this guy's staring at his phone. And we get that all the time as well. However, more disturbing than that, and the reason that we go on about this a bit, is because regularly people in Japan die because these guys don't stop using their phone when the light goes green. And we see this all the time. While we're driving along out in the countryside in the rice fields, you'll see a car coming towards you and the driver's looking down at their phone, which is really scary. Car drivers and also truck drivers seem to do it more than car drivers do. Truck drivers driving around staring at their phones is a really scary thing. If they're coming towards you or sitting behind you, very scary. And then, of course, what we get is that it gets reported on the news, and they always act surprised. You know, it's always a big surprise, and oh, what a tragedy, and how sad that some truck driver somewhere, staring at his phone, has gone through an intersection and wiped out some kids on a pedestrian crossing. Or this week, we saw a car accident reported that there was a big accident, and a couple of people died. And sure enough, there was a truck driver involved. They didn't mention a phone, but often they do. Often they say the person was on their phone, they didn't see the red light, they went through it, a couple of pedestrians were killed. You know, some old lady, we saw another one recently, an old lady on the footpath, standing there waiting to cross the street on the footpath, and some fool staring at their phone went through and killed them. So we do get a bit serious about this one. And that's why we're quite happy to show these people doing it. You know, we'll show their number plates, we'll show their faces, because they're doing it, you know, they're doing it. You know, and that's what gets us, is that these people that are doing this, you know, the result of this is some people are dying. So unfortunately, even though it is against the law in Japan, it's a really low priority. Politicians and the cops just treat this as a low priority. You know, we showed a video once before of a cop staking out a road and catching people for doing this, but we've only ever seen that once. And even though the media report on people dying as a result of this, they very rarely seem to make much of a fuss about people actually doing it. So the answer to the question, why is it a problem? That's our answer. That's our observations. More videos coming soon.